Decision made. Joe Biden finally declared the 46th President of the United States.
Let us be the nation that we know we can be. A nation united, a nation strengthened, a nation healed.
It's a record-breaking historic win, putting the first woman and woman of colour, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, in the White House. The first one-term president in almost 30 years, but Donald Trump is refusing to admit it's over. So what happens when a president won't concede defeat? An election party like America's never seen, dancing in the streets from New York to Los Angeles. Joy in a country that's had a year full of sorrow. And a new era for the Australia-US relationship, what a Biden presidency means for our nation and the world.
This is 10 News First with Chris Barth.
Joe Biden has been declared the next president of the United States, ending the ugliest election battle in America's history. After days of drawn-out counting, Pennsylvania flipped blue, clinching it for Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. There are celebrations underway across the United States, thousands taking to the streets, welcoming the Biden-Harris victory and the end of the Trump presidency. It's just on 1 a.m. in Washington, D.C. This is the White House, where Donald Trump is right now, still refusing to concede defeat. We have reporters in key areas of the United States on this historic day. National Affairs Editor Hugh Riminton begins our coverage.
Social distancing be damned. Millions of Americans are partying.
It's wonderful. Pure joy.
That's wonderful. We were waiting for that. We need to take this country back and unite.
This is one of the best days of my life.
An explosion of jubilation after days of waiting.
We are coming on the air with breaking news at this hour. CBS News projects that Joe Biden has been elected the 46th President of the United States.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th President of the United States.
Within hours, the stage was being graced by the highest woman set for political office in American history and the first black American vice president.
And it is now my great honor to introduce the President-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
With Pennsylvania falling across the line, the man whose time it once seemed was long gone.
My fellow Americans,
Now claims the ultimate prize.
the Bible tells us to everything there is a season, a time to build, a time to reap and a time to sow, and a time to heal. This is the time to heal in America.
Donald Trump was out on the golf course. He spent a moment posing with a new blushing bride. But then the news hit. Within an hour, he was tweeting again about electoral fraud. In a statement, he said, "We all know why Joe Biden is rushing to falsely pose as the winner and why his media allies are trying so hard to help him. I will not rest until the American people have the honest vote count they deserve." His legal team is still frantically looking for something.
From the very beginning, the mail-in ballots were a source of some degree of skepticism, if not a lot of skepticism, as being innately prone to fraud.
Despite the numerous suits being filed by the Trump campaign, there is still no evidence being offered of fraud or processing errors large enough to overturn the numbers.
The problem for Donald Trump is that the legal arguments almost seem to have been passed by. The momentum with the Joe Biden claim of victory has shifted now, as you can see, out into the streets. For the people here, there can be no turning back.
Just overjoyed, I can't say.
World leaders are rushing to congratulate Joe Biden. On the streets and in the TV studios, the change has come.
Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters.
Never in modern presidential history has a claim of victory come before a concession of defeat. But that's Trump. While 70 million Americans tonight mourn the loss of their dream of another 4 years of Donald Trump, for millions more, they're partying tonight like tomorrow is already here.
And Hugh joins me now from Washington, D.C. live. Hugh, Donald Trump isn't going quietly. What happens next?
Well, Donald Trump's hopes now rest entirely on those legal challenges, but I've not been able to find a single non-partisan legal expert who would even remotely suggest that any legal challenges will overturn the vote count that we've now seen coming through. CNN is now reporting, in fact, that Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner has approached the president to urge him to concede. Still no word on any progress on that front. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has to get around his transition processes, including selecting a new cabinet. That is something that is always worth watching. Chris.
No doubt the world will be. Thanks, Hugh. It was a 4-day vote count that's decided the next 4 years. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have inherited a nation struggling with mammoth issues, including the world's worst COVID crisis and deep-seated racial tension. Today, their message was one of unity, hope and possibility.
In a car park in Wilmington, America steers towards a new destiny. And it only took 244 years for the land of the free to elect its first woman and first person of colour, Kamala Harris, as the vice president.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Knowing the significance, the former VP asked his new VP to speak tonight, an honour not even he was given by Barack Obama.
You chose hope and unity, decency, science, and yes, truth.
America will now have its first second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. He's Jewish, she's a Baptist. Together, they raise his 2 children from another marriage. A modern family for a modern America, with Harris driven by the passion of her late mother.
When she came here from India at the age of 19, she maybe didn't quite imagine this moment. But she believed so deeply in an America where a moment like this is possible.
She spoke of Joe Biden's audacity in choosing her to be his running mate.
To break one of the most substantial barriers that exists in our country and select a woman as his vice president.
Then in front of his hometown, it was Joe Biden's turn to make the biggest speech of his life.
Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States.
Calling it a time to see and hear each other again.
For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance.
And with 13 other Bidens, including America's next First Lady, Jill, and with the memory of his late wife, daughter and son, the president-elect watched the Biden era begin and the Trump era end with a bang. Joe Biden claims victory tonight with the backing of 75 million Americans, the most of any presidential candidate in history. But tonight, President-elect Biden wants these celebrations to be for every American. His battle for the soul of the nation won, but now the job to heal America begins.
And Eamon Ashton-Atkinson is live in Wilmington, Delaware. Eamon, it sounds like President-elect Biden isn't going to waste any time getting straight to work.
Yes, Chris, well, while Joe Biden will be the oldest person to take on this job, he'll be 78 years old come his inauguration. He's not wasting any time, as you said. Tomorrow he'll be setting up his own coronavirus task force, filling it with scientists who help him try and grapple with this worsening crisis. It's getting deadlier by the day now that winter is here, and it's certainly not going to be helped by the fact that America is now led by a lame duck president. And having been on the campaign trail for the past couple of months, I think you have to acknowledge the 70 million Americans who aren't celebrating tonight. But for the majority that did support Biden, the ones that I was speaking with here who feel like the past 4 years have been a nightmare, today there's this overwhelming sense of relief and hope. Chris?
Thanks, Eamon. Never before has an election victory brought a reaction like what we've seen today across America. Huge crowds came together, dancing in the streets. One of the biggest parties is in Philadelphia. It's a city that voted 81% in favour of the Democrats, whose mail-in ballots finally flipped Pennsylvania resoundingly blue, handing Biden the keys to the White House.
After 4 tense days, America erupted. From Philadelphia
the people united will never be defeated.
To Los Angeles and Washington. And across to Oregon. It was loud. In Pennsylvania, it was proud. The streets of New York erupting in dance and unbridled jubilation.
We did it! Let's go, Biden!
The skies are blue in New York City today.
America said gay rights. Gay rights, rights for trans people, rights for LGBTQ people, rights for people of color, that Black lives do matter.
This is what democracy looks like!
Some took to the streets with musical instruments, others improvised with kitchen utensils. From apartment buildings and windows, in their cars, the parks and on the streets. New Yorkers bid farewell to a man that's arguably their least favourite son. For some, the emotion was too much.
This is a great moment in history. I love you all. I love you.
Even those who'd been backing Trump got in on the celebrations.
I can't believe my candidate, Donald Trump, lost the race.
This area was the site of the 1969 riots, which launched the gay rights movement here in America. So it's not surprising this was one of the first places people started flocking to when news of Joe Biden's win was announced.
Outside the White House, crowds made sure the president heard their message loud and clear. Wherever supporters were, there was no shortage of people to celebrate with or dance partners.
And Catherine joins me from New York now. Catherine, the party looks like it's still going there.
It certainly is, Chris. I'm in Times Square. This is, of course, known as the crossroads to the world, and never has that felt more appropriate than tonight. Just have a look at the crowd here. Keep in mind, most of these people have been out for about 12 hours. It's just gone 1 a.m. here. Their energy is still absolutely vibrant on the ground. New York is, of course, one of the most democratic states there is in America. It was one of the first states to get called to Joe Biden's favour. And these people have had taken quite a while to have to let out some of that celebration and to actually allow themselves to celebrate. I might just let them take us out here, Chris. The party is going to be going right through the night. There's no doubt about that, Chris.
Thanks, Catherine. Catherine Ferguson live in New York City. In Australia, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has welcomed Joe Biden's victory, and he's also thanked Donald Trump, reminding us that no matter who's in the White House or the Lodge, the relationship between Australia and the US will never buckle.
The new president will have a lot of fences to mend around the world when he's sworn in, but not here.
No relationship more critical.
Today, the Prime Minister also praised Donald Trump.
There has been a tremendous commitment by the Trump administration here in the Indo-Pacific.
But he says it's time to move on. And Scott Morrison's already informally invited the new president to Australia next year. Joe Biden has been here before, of course, getting a lesson in AFL 4 years ago.
This is a profound time, not just for the United States, but for our partnership and the world more broadly.
I've met Joe Biden and he is a friend of Australia.
A Joe Biden presidency will also focus heavily on climate change, and that will put pressure on Scott Morrison to keep up. Today, two old political sparring partners certainly agree on that, just like they do on global warming.
Trump has lost. Murdoch's man in the White House has been defeated. The Americans are going to be taking a leading position globally on climate action once again.
Morrison's the government now. He has nowhere to move on this. He must act.
Former PM Malcolm Turnbull famously got a blast from Donald Trump over the phone. So, who's having the last laugh now?
Look, it's a relief to have a return to normal transmission, to have an administration that is going to be consistent, that isn't going to be, making decisions by wild tweets in the early hours of the morning.
There will also be relief in many governments right around the world tonight to see the back of a president who often treated his enemies like friends and his friends like enemies.
And Network political editor Peter Van Onselen joins me now. Peter, what's the biggest thing that a Biden-Harris win means for Australia?
Well, it means stability first up. So that's the thing that most allies, including Australia, are happy about. It's not that Trump necessarily always made bad decisions, but you couldn't be sure as an ally that he'd be on your side necessarily before he'd made that particular decision. But for Australia and for Scott Morrison's government in particular, the biggest challenge will now be climate change and emissions reductions, because Donald Trump was not on board about that. We all know that. Whereas the Biden-Harris team, they're very clearly on board about it. They've talked about it all the way through the campaign, and we know that Scott Morrison is not nearly as on board as Donald Trump's now replacement as president is. So that will be a real challenge for Scott Morrison. You can bet Parliament's returning this week. Anthony Albanese and the Labor Party, they are absolutely going to go there in question time.
What would it mean for the influence of China in our region, given the trade battle that we're having right now?
Well, China's fascinating because, of course, we know that they're expanding their reach and their influence, and we've got our own issues, as you mentioned, with them. I think a Biden presidency will take a more traditional approach to China. Some sceptics about Biden are worried that he won't be as tough on China as Donald Trump. I think he'll be as tough, but he won't be as erratically tough. Now, what does that mean? Well, China aren't going to stop their expansion. The issue for America is they've got to get their standing in the global community back. That's one of the biggest things that I think has been lost during the Trump era. So Biden will look to that. He will be a very traditional ally for Australia. That's one of the reasons why Scott Morrison has invited him over for the anniversary of the alliance.
Well, let's see if we can get coronavirus sorted and he might get here. Thanks,
yeah,
PVO.
Indeed.
Thank you. And PVO and Hugh Remington have just recorded a presidential edition of their podcast, The Professor and the Hack. They discuss what Joe Biden's election will mean for Australia and Donald Trump's undignified exit. You can listen to it at 10 Speaks or wherever you get your podcasts. Still to come, how the rest of the world's leaders have reacted to Joe Biden's victory and the other news of the day, including new freedoms for Victoria with a significant easing of restrictions. A royal appearance like never before, the Queen steps out COVID style. And climbing Mount Everest from the comfort of his home, the little boy who's moving mountains for charity.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020!
Over 2 big nights, who will be crowned champion?
One of you will get your hands on that shiny trophy.
It looks like spectacular.
The only thing standing between you and that title is this challenge.
The toughest thing you have ever cooked in your lives.
Oh my God. Wow.
The grand finale, 7:30 tonight and tomorrow on 10.
Take more control over your hay fever. Prevent symptoms before they even start. Try Nutel Nasal Allergy Spray. Its active ingredient binds to receptors in the nasal cavity, preventing congestion, runny noses and sneezing. Try Nutel Nasal.
It's tough out there, Australia. Every cent counts. Make sure your insurance is about where you're at right now. You could save lots. Yui, you insured. It's car and home insurance for individuals like you.
Get your Woolies worth and prepare for Christmas with prices dropped on 140 more products, like Woolworths seasoned whole RSPCA approved chicken, now just $6.50 a kilo, helping your money go further this Christmas at Woolworths.
We're built for the 4 a.m. starts, for the moment that engine turns over, and for those long days on the open road. That's why Century batteries are built right here in Australia, for Australia.
The new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G is here.
Order now on the network with 5G coverage in more places.
Meatballs at the ready. Aye, aye. Fire.
We've hit a sub, Cap.
Sinker Sub is here. Win millions of prizes instantly like an Isuzu MU-X and 10K every week. Play today, only at Subway.
There is still magic wherever you are. Yes, there is magic. Stay young in your heart. It's still around us. It never was lost.
Cherish those golden to us with Ferrero Rocher. Fragrant hazelnuts, smooth velvety chocolate, wrapped in precious gold. Ferrero Rocher, say it with gold.
Monday, the gloves are off when Pete, Celia and Abby join Ed and Sam on New Have You Been Paying Attention?
Many of Victoria's lockdown restrictions will be eased from midnight after the state recorded its 9th straight day with 0 new cases or deaths. But there's no change to the mandatory mask rule, despite Victoria having just 4 active COVID-19 cases.
In a matter of hours, Victoria will become whole again.
Victoria will be once again united as one single state.
The ring of steel separating Melbourne from regional Victoria will dissolve. So will the 25-kilometre travel ban.
It is of international significance to have gone from more than 700 cases a day to now 9 days of 0 cases in a row. Is a particularly impressive thing.
There's even a fancy new ad campaign encouraging regional travel.
And it brings us an enormous amount of joy when we see people enjoying our produce with their family and friends.
Cafes, pubs and restaurants have been given a slight capacity increase, and funerals can have 20 mourners inside and 50 outside. Melbourne's gyms will also reopen, but Victorians must continue to work from home, and weddings are capped at 10 guests.
It can't be done open slather, because whilst these numbers are good, what we've all built together is fragile, precious and fragile, and it has to be safeguarded.
He says it's too soon to reopen any further.
9 days of 0 is not the same as a vaccine.
But there are no changes to Victoria's most controversial rule, and that's the mandatory wearing of masks. Unless you're running, eating, drinking, at home or talking to a camera like I am, they must be worn at all times, right across the state.
They serve a purpose. They play a part in keeping these numbers low.
4 cases, a state of 6.5 million people, yet you still have to wear your mask if you're by yourself walking the dog first thing in the morning or last thing at night.
Further restrictions will ease from midnight on November 22. Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
We've been given a glimpse inside the Melbourne facility that will manufacture the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. From tomorrow, biotech company CSL will start making 30 million doses of the vaccine. It's hoped it will be rolled out to Australians from early next year, once the clinical trial data has been reviewed.
We're making it ahead of time so that should the clinical trial be positive with the outcome that we're looking for, it will be available and the vaccine will be available in the short term to distribute to the population.
The federal government's invested more than $3.2 billion in potential coronavirus vaccines. There have been no new cases of community transmission recorded across the country today. New South Wales had no positive COVID tests in the community overnight, despite a small cluster developing in a town south of Sydney in the past week.
We currently do not have anywhere in the state that is even close to being designated a hotspot. There's no reason why New South Wales residents shouldn't be welcomed throughout the nation.
It comes as traces of the virus were detected in sewerage in Sydney's northwest, which could be from someone who was infected weeks ago. In breaking news, a young man has just been charged over a deadly crash on the New South Wales south coast. The 21-year-old was the front seat passenger in a car when police allege he pulled the handbrake, causing it to crash out of control, hitting 3 people and killing a young woman.
Described as a vibrant and positive girl, Libby Rouge was taken too soon.
Libby is unlike anyone I've ever met.
The 19-year-old was walking along the street with her boyfriend and 2 other mates in Wollongong on the New South Wales south coast last night when a Toyota Camry mounted the footpath and hit them. Libby died at the scene from serious head injuries.
She's just so beautiful, so nice. I couldn't say nicer things about anyone. Yeah, she has not one bad bone in her body.
She was an amazing human that her vibe was infectious.
Her boyfriend wasn't injured, but her 2 other friends are still in hospital with serious injuries. 3 staff members from the Collegians Football Club rushed outside only moments after the crash. The manager performed CPR on one of the pedestrians until paramedics arrived at the scene. A 21-year-old passenger in the car has now been charged, police alleging he pulled the handbrake, causing the crash. Libby's friends and family shared their deepest condolences on social media this afternoon. Her mum sent a heartfelt text message to her friend. She said she touched everybody that she met. Her friends posted on Facebook with one clear message: a friend that no one will ever get to see again. Please slow down, everyone. Amna Yang for 10 News First.
A 24-year-old man is recovering in hospital after being stabbed in a brawl west of Brisbane. Up to 20 people were involved in the fight in a suburban street at Raceview. Paramedics were called to the scene just after midnight. The man suffered a gash to his hand and was rushed to hospital in a serious but stable condition. Police are investigating. No charges have been laid. The TAB has had to apologise after a major power disruption crashed its servers on one of racing's biggest days. For nearly 12 hours yesterday, punters were unable to place bets, losing the betting agency an estimated $100 million. The disruption forced the rescheduling of races in Melbourne and Sydney and even forced Adelaide's event to be abandoned after just 2 races. The racing industry is believed to have lost up to $10 million thanks to the malfunction, capping off an already challenging Spring Carnival. Joining us now with an update on the weather is Charlotte Goodlett. Charlotte, not a lot of wet weather around this weekend.
No, Chris, it's been pretty dry across the country these last couple of days. We can't really spot a lot of cloud on the satellite. A little bit of action through central Queensland, which is some thunderstorm activity, some of it quite severe around towns like Charleville, and some more along the WA border. Now, that's thanks to this trough that we can see here, which is also causing a few showers and storms. What else stands out in the map is a big high keeping most of the southeast settled. Rain-wise, the biggest falls were seen in that inland Queensland area. There are also a few showers north of Brisbane. The Sunshine Coast got some falls, as did Gympie. Speaking of Brisbane, it got to 23 degrees today. It was a little overcast at times, also a bit cloudy in Sydney. 21 was the top. Melbourne a bit warmer than yesterday, 19 degrees and fine. Mostly sunny, 16 in Hobart. A beautiful way to end the weekend in Adelaide, 27 degrees. Perth got to 25, while Darwin reached 37. And Chris, I'll be back just before 6 with a look at tomorrow and the week ahead because there is some wet weather coming.
See you then. Thanks, Charlotte. Up next, we'll have the latest from America and the parties and jubilation in the streets as Joe Biden is named the 46th President of the United States. Plus, offering hope, encouragement and cooperation, how world leaders are responding to the President-elect's promises. And remembering Jeannie Little, the flamboyant entertainer, dead at 82.
FBI, open up!
To catch the most dangerous criminals,
We need evidence and we need it fast.
it takes the most fearless team.
Special Agents Dan and Bell.
The new season of FBI, 9 o'clock tonight on 10.
Did somebody say that you love
Me, get delivery like a G. See, hungry dogs gotta eat. I get mines every day, every week. Chicken wings to the crib I'm sitting in. Tacos to the chateau, please. Did somebody say that you love? Private jetting in the night sky. My man hand glide by with my fried rice. Ride, M-E-N-U-L-O-G.
Did somebody say that you love?
Yeah! I listen to metal. It's not his cup of tea.
Not really my cup of tea.
But sometimes it's good to just vent.
There are so many ways we can live better. Search Medibank Live Better to find yours.
Now's the time to escape.
enjoy family time on island time, or reconnect with old friends while trying something new. Escape for 3 nights from $209. Go to brillianttravels.com.au. Sounds like a brilliant idea.
Boating, cabin fishing is BCFing fun.
Nothing beats our BCFing best brands heading into summer. Get grilling with this Weber charcoal kettle for $329. Smoking.
BCFing fun. Hey!
More Australian pet owners and their dogs love NexGard Spectra. The most complete parasite protection in one tasty tube. NexGard.
Studies show that being overweight can impair your immune system, so there's no better time than now to be healthy. Be strong. Be whatever you want to be. OptiSlim has your back. With delicious shakes, bars and soups, the OptiSlim weight loss range can help you take back control of your body, lose weight, improve your immune system and be your version of better. Order online at optislim.com.au or Chemist Warehouse today.
The cane pub style are too good to play second fiddle. From now on, chips will come with a side of mains. We'll have chips and fish shops and we'll ask,
Would you like burgers with that?
because these chips are the main event. Oh, McCain, you've done it again.
At Open Universities Australia, we know how important it is to make the right choice when it comes to university. So we'll help simplify the process. From which online course to which university, we'll help you compare and choose what's right for you so you can see all your online study options clearly. Find the right study choice for you all in one place at Open Universities Australia. Explore online courses today at open.edu.au.
Menula.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020.
Over 2 big nights, tonight and tomorrow on 10.
Millions across the United States are still celebrating as an excruciating election count finally produced a winner. Joe Biden will be the 46th President of the United States, making Donald Trump the first one-term leader since 1992. Many see this as a chance for America to heal in a time of turmoil.
After days of waiting across the United States, the response was jubilant and joyous as Joe Biden sealed the path to victory.
It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again.
In towns and cities across the country, Democrat supporters turned out in droves to celebrate.
You hear that? He says thank you.
President-elect Biden finally emerged in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, to give the biggest speech of his life, promising to be a president for all Americans.
I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify, who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States.
After 4 days of counting, crucial ballots out of Pennsylvania gave him the unbeatable lead to win the race to the White House and become America's 46th president.
We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
And his running mate Kamala Harris becomes the first woman and person of colour to become vice president.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
But as the Biden camp rejoiced,
We did it!
President Donald Trump was playing golf when he was told of the result, which he's vowing to take to court, saying, "We all know why Joe Biden is rushing to falsely pose as the winner and why his media allies are trying so hard to help him. I will not rest until the American people have had the honest vote count they deserve."
It is not over. We need to do recounts.
And I encourage President Trump to continue his lawsuits.
But Biden's supporters aren't fazed. seeing this as the time for America to heal, the new president-elect's first priorities are to tackle the pandemic and band the country together again.
We must restore the soul of America.
Promising opportunities for all.
I've always believed we can define America in one word: possibilities.
It's a hope burning bright tonight. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Wilmington.
It wasn't just Americans holding their breath for an election result. International leaders were quick to voice their support for the president-elect without waiting for a traditional concession.
Promising to be a president for all Americans, regardless of their vote. Joe Biden's message of unity also resonated quickly around the world. Time to heal, unite and heal, and simply It's Joe read the UK front pages. The US is our most important ally, said Boris Johnson. I look forward to working closely together on our shared priorities. The world needs a strong relationship between Europe and the US, President of the European Parliament David Sassoli said, a revival of transatlantic relations that can meet the challenges presented by our time. The result was music to the ears of Parisians. French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted, "We have a lot to do to overcome today's challenges. Let's work together." Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo simply declared, "Welcome back, America." Celebration, a universal language.
I love a croissant. I love an omelette du fromage.
Justin Trudeau said from Canada, "Our two countries are close friends, partners and allies." But those who'd clashed with President Trump were watching too. Iran's supreme leader said the situation in the US and what they say about themselves is a spectacle. A spectacle that will see a former celebrity apprentice host fired from the White House, delighting Hollywood A-listers. Cher tweeted, "He did it, she did it, they did it." From Pink, "I was overwhelmed with relief for this country." And from Biden campaigner Lady Gaga, "You just gave the world one of the greatest acts of kindness and bravery humanity has ever seen." A change of leadership at the helm of a global superpower, welcomed as a return to tradition, calmness and reduced volatility by a world weary of the alternative. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
The Queen has appeared in public like we've never seen her before. The 94-year-old has worn a mask for the first time at an official event. She was attending the centenary of the burial of the unknown warrior at Westminster Abbey ahead of Sunday's Remembrance Day tributes. Her bespoke black mask, edged in white, is believed to have been made by the Queen's personal designer. The royal family's been hit by COVID-19. Both Her Majesty's son and grandson have tested positive. Still to come, a big feat for a young man. We meet 14-year-old Ben, who's scaling Mount Everest from his home staircase. And the entertainment industry pays tribute to Jeannie Little.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020!
Who will be crowned this year's champion?
It all comes down to this dish.
Oh my God.
The grand finale. Wow! Tonight and tomorrow on 10.
The art of the charcuterie board. Mouth-watering salami, irresistible prosciutto, and there it is, a charcuterie board piled high with flavour.
Charcuterie?
Hans.
It's actually Hans.
In small business, everything counts in the fight to stay strong. That's why I use QuickBooks Smarter Business Tools. Paper receipts. Their expense management tool saves me time. My accountant, Donna,
loves it.
It feels like my entourage of expert help. Made to take care of business. Intuit QuickBooks, backing you.
Tonight, I'll be eating a panko crumbed halloumi burger with an iced oat milk latte. Cheers. All right then, let's get you spayed.
Merry Christmas, Dad. Here's a little playlist for the long road ahead. Miss you.
UV cameras show the true effect of the Australian sun. Nivea Sun protects you in 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 ways. Plus our oceans too, with 5+1 protection. Nivea Protect and Moisture.
Pre-rinsing wastes up to 40 litres of water. Let's end this. With Finish, if you promise to stop pre-rinsing, we'll donate 40 litres of water to those who need it most. Join the movement. Finish.
Guess who's back? But you never left. Yes, I did. I rose from the dead. And now I'm here to slay them with flows and some punchlines that'll go over your head. Drop, turn back, I'm a caution in red.
Go full Christmas with decorations for less. Aldi. Good. Different.
Ears feeling blocked? Using cotton tips can push wax deeper. But Ear Clear releases the power of oxygen to break up wax, helping it move out of the ear naturally. Clear your ears with Ear Clear.
Bold is standing out, never blending in. It's unapologetically chunky and never thin. Bold is savoured, never swift. It's plentiful, rich, sensations ignite. Old Gold is bold in every bite.
It's the new Jamie season that uses only 5 ingredients.
So delicious.
New Quick and Easy starts Wednesday.
Australia has lost one of its most original and unmistakable entertainers. The darling Jeannie Little. Little only in name. Her passion, her laugh and her life were all gigantic. And in the end, only Alzheimer's could lead her off the stage.
Her name was Little, but she was larger than life. Australian entertainer Jeannie Little delighted audiences for decades with her flamboyant performances and unmatchable wit.
Sydney Tower is spectacular, isn't it?
Darling, this is the biggest erection in Australia.
Born in Sydney, she made her television debut on The Mike Walsh Show in 1974 and went on to win a Gold Logie 2 years later.
Can I just think Mike Walsh, who we all adore?
A star on the stage and the small screen, Little forged a path as the first Aussie female larrikin, always unfiltered and unapologetically cheeky.
You're gorgeous, darling. I've always wanted a trashy image, darling.
She married her husband Barry in 1971, and he was by her side when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2009.
You just sort of see Mum kind of wasting away. And I remember, you know, when Mum knew there was something wrong and we knew there was something going wrong, and that was all terribly, terribly tragic and sad.
Australia's darling spent her final years in a nursing home with Barry, who died last year. It was their daughter Katie who confirmed her mother's death on social media. "My mother has left the earthly plane," she wrote. "This is a huge shock, but I'm so grateful." Alzheimer's disease cruelly stole the star's memories of her illustrious career, but Australia won't forget Jeannie Little.
Darling, it has been absolutely excruciatingly fun.
She was 82. Taylor Ryan for 10 News First.
Another entertainer is being mourned today. Midnight Oil bassist Bones Hillman has died at the age of 62 following a battle with cancer. The band announced the news today, remembering him as a brilliant musical comrade with a wicked sense of humour. 4 men have been winched to safety in a delicate rescue off the coast of Fraser Island. The RACQ rescue helicopter was called in after an emergency beacon was activated overnight. The group of tourists had been attempting to turn around their catamaran when it flipped and flung them into the water. They were stranded for about an hour and a half before help arrived. No one was seriously injured. A Melbourne teenager is hoping to conquer Mount Everest from his lounge room. Ben Gallis has been climbing his family home staircase every day for the past month in an effort to raise money to buy disadvantaged children much needed sporting equipment.
It may not look like Mount Everest,
But 14-year-old Ben Gallis is determined to scale 3,142 sets to reach the summit. It's been 36 days and counting.
I'm spending about an hour and a half a day.
It's hard work, but Ben counts himself lucky.
And a lot of people aren't. They're not as privileged as me, so I'm just doing it for those kids in need.
With every step, he's raising money to buy disadvantaged children sporting equipment.
And one day, me and my dad are sitting on the couch going through movies and we see Mount Everest.
They see a regular guy can follow impossible dreams. Maybe they'll do the same.
Look to my stairs and I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to climb Mount Everest from my stairs.
So far, he's raised around $350 for the Koori Academy.
You're going to put a smile on a lot of young boys' and girls' faces. That's something to be very proud of. Well done.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Following in his father's footsteps, the founder of Footies for All.
Despite not 1 cent of state or federal funding, we've given out over 27,000 new balls to kids in need, and every single one of them has changed their lives.
Once Ben reaches his goal, he plans to do it all again. Next time, he wants to ride the equivalent of the Tour de France.
That's 3,000 times around the block.
So let's help Ben kick some goals. Christina Costalis for 10 News First.
Good on you, Ben. Time for sport now with Emma Lawrence. At last, a win for the Wallabies.
Yes, how good was it, Chris? But if you ask their coach, it is nothing to get carried away with just yet. Up next, we've got all the reaction and the controversy from that win over the All Blacks. Plus, Kurt Capewell misses training for the Maroons ahead of Origin 2. And Will Pukowski putting his hand up for Test selection.
Sir David Attenborough's secret Aussie weapon, 6:30.
Sometimes the answer's so close. Oh! Yet so far.
Just want to see how far Sam's got. He's had about 3 minutes.
Just give me a second. Oh, no. I don't, sorry, no.
So how will Pete, Celia and Abby go when they take on Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention?
Look around. As the favourites come out, it begins. Observing with an eagle eye. Mastering the art of stashing. Oh, brilliant Ove Grant. Cadbury favourites. Everyone gets their favourites.
New Rainbow Bursties make Hungry Jack's frozen drinks more fun with bursting bubbles of triple bursty flavour sensation. Or add Rainbow Bursties to new bubblegum frozens. Get more flavour and fun with Rainbow Bursties, only at Hungry Jack's.
It lives at first light, wherever we push ourselves. When we pull together, it lives over the door, at the end of every paintbrush, after the sun has set. It lives in going for a 6, where a 4 would have done it. It lives in every square inch of this place. And because we live here, Can lives here.
Hey, remember being outside? It's time to get out again. Nature Valley takes big tasting ingredients and puts them in a snack so you can take it anywhere. Because those trees won't climb themselves and that hammock won't swing itself. Nature Valley, get out more.
Whether it's care for farmers, for the ecosystem or for the future, doing the right thing matters. Those who care most about exceptional coffee know exceptional coffee comes from care. Nespresso, what else?
Keeping your body in perfect shape isn't always easy. Fortunately, keeping your hair in perfect shape is. The Crew Cut exclusive to Shaver Shop with Japanese steel blades which cut in any direction. The Crew Cut from VS Sassoon. The clipper has evolved.
Aldi's tender boneless lamb leg is so easy, it's impossible to mess it up. Boneless lamb leg roast, now only $14.99 per kilo. Aldi, good, different.
At Open Universities Australia, we've helped over 400,000 students access their education online. We make it easier for every Australian to start studying with simplified enrolment and access to government loans. As a not-for-profit, we have your best interests at heart, and our virtual doors to Australian universities are always open. So start your online study journey today at open.edu.au.
Hungry Jack's free limited edition glasses. Get a free Hungry Jack's glass with any large meal. Collect all 5 colours at Hungry Jack's.
Have you tried the apple cider vinegar diet? Now you can with Nature's Way and their lifestyle plan. Feel fit and look fabulous this summer with Nature's Way apple cider tabs.
My way is Nature's Way.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020.
Over 2 big nights, tonight and tomorrow on 10.
Good evening. Wallabies coach Dave Rennie says their victory over the All Blacks is nothing to get carried away with. The 24-22 result was Rennie's first win in charge and Australia's 7th in a row at Suncorp Stadium.
The bounce of the ball was going the right way for the Wallabies.
Held back, lucky bounce. Tom Banks, there it is. What a start here for Tom Wright.
Despite being outscored 3 tries to 2, Australia finally got their Bledisloe win for 2020.
What it tells us is that, if we work hard enough for each other and, we can get results against anyone. And so, look, it doesn't count for much tonight if we don't back it up against Argentina in a couple of weeks.
It was 14-on-14 for much of the night. Ofa Tuangafasi was red-carded for a high shot on Tom Wright before debutant Lachie Swinton was given his marching orders by referee Nick Berry.
We've got to talk about player safety. So that's why the rule's in there, not to make contact with the head. So we want our players playing as long as we possibly can in this game. So, if that's the interpretation, that's what's coming down from up top, we've got to be better.
An eventful but memorable debut for Swinton.
I thought Lachie had made a big statement in the 30-odd minutes that he was on the field. Everything that we asked of him, bringing a bit of edge. And what we know around tackle, around clean, around work rate, he is massive.
14 points off the boot of Reece Hodge maintained scoreboard pressure, and the Wallabies hit the front with 11 minutes to go. Taniela Tupou's try proved to be the match winner.
There it is! It's the big fellow!
Christian Jansen for 10 News First.
Queensland is confident Kurt Capewell will recover from a groin injury to play a Game 2 of State of Origin. He failed to train again today, and Cameron Munster has warned all players will be needed this series to get the job done against the Blues.
He was a surprise star of Game 1, and Kurt Capewell will again have to play through a groin injury if there is to be a sequel.
He did it last week, just before captain's run. I gave him a beautiful pill about 5 metres in front of him, and he had to stretch out and obviously hurt his groin. So he played well on Wednesday night for us, and I'm sure he'll make himself right.
Both squads took damage in Adelaide.
There's no Cam Murray, there's no AJ Brimson, and Boyd Cordner and Christian Welch with head knocks. So there's obviously going to be some niggles in games, and there's going to be a lot of young debutants probably playing in the next couple of games.
Queensland's halves outplayed their Blues counterparts, and Cameron Munster also has a budding bromance with Wayne Bennett.
We're actually the Euchre partners in cards against Mel and Alfie, and we're up 3-2, so we're going well at the moment, good combination, but he's just really a bit of a lad, a bit of a larrikin.
It's not fun and games for Nathan Cleary. As halfback, he took the Blues loss personally.
And I think there's a lot I can improve on, obviously kicking game and stuff like that, so I've had a hard look at that.
Luke Keary was dumped, so it's back to plan B with Cody Walker 5/8.
I'm looking forward to playing with him again. Obviously, I was lucky enough to play with him in Game 1 last year and see some of the things he does on the training paddock. He's an absolute superstar.
New South Wales is 2 forwards and a game down, but Nathan Brown might add some Blues steel from the bench.
I thought we let him off too easy there in Game 1, so I'm sure if we just do the simple things right, we've got enough talent in the team to get the job done.
Bence Hammerley for 10 News First.
Victoria prodigy Will Pucovski is making an irresistible case to be included in the upcoming Test squad with another century against Western Australia.
Another 100 for Will Pucovski. He's a king in the making.
Marcus Harris made 71 but fell to a spectacular catch from Sam Whiteman. Test opener Joe Burns continued his lean run, making just 10 against South Australia. But Usman Khawaja sent a reminder of his class, scoring his 29th first-class century. New South Wales were bowled out for just 64 against Tasmania, their 3rd lowest total in Sheffield Shield history. Alexander Zverev's rich run of form has continued. He's through to the final of the Paris Masters after beating Rafael Nadal. The 6-4, 7-5 win was the German's 12th on the trot since losing the US Open final.
Third time lucky for Alexander Zverev.
He'll face Daniil Medvedev in the decider after the Russian downed Milos Raonic in their semi. Zverev has beaten Medvedev in 5 of their 6 previous meetings. Well, Jason Day is tuning up nicely for next week's US Masters. He's tied second at the Houston Open, 1 behind Sam Burns. Day is 8 under par after shooting 3 under in the 3rd round, for once looking fit ahead of the delayed major at Augusta National.
This is pulled just a little bit.
Oh, what a shot. Well, he built in enough margin, used a little bit of the slope there. Beautiful play.
World number 1 Dustin Johnson is another contender. He's 3 shots off the lead, while Adam Scott dropped to 34th. Australia's Jack Miller has been pushed back to 7th on the grid for the European Grand Prix in Valencia. There's been no official explanation yet, but he had initially classified 6th in qualifying. It appears Alex Espargaro was given back a lap time, which was cancelled due to a yellow flag. Starting in pole position, his brother Pol Espargaro. Valentino Rossi, who missed back-to-back races after testing positive to COVID-19, only managed 18th. And we'll have plenty more overseas sport coming up later, including all the highlights from the Premier League.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Emma. Coming up next, we're back live to the United States on this historic day as America welcomes its 46th president.
Live to the US as Joe Biden claims victory, 6:30.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020.
Who will be crowned this year's champion?
It all comes down to this dish.
Oh my God.
The grand finale. Wow. Tonight and tomorrow on 10.
The new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G is here. Order now on the network with 5G coverage in more places.
So, love, there's only that robot costume left. Or this one.
Make the choice easy with Toyota value that keeps on giving. Get the improved Prado, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus even more power. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Macca's new Chicken McPieces. Tender 100% Aussie chicken breast in an irresistible coating. Plus Aussie favourite chicken salt shaker fries are finally here. Now that's too good to keep to yourself.
With chocolate-coated cherry liqueurs, gourmet nougat, and decadent Yorkshire-made fudge. You can go full Christmas for less at Aldi.
Shaver Shop's Click Frenzy deals. Save up to 80%. Oral-B Pro 500 toothbrush, save 55%. Wall Cordless Groom Pro Clipper, only $59. Half price on Braun Beard Trimmer, only $74. Shaver Shop's Click Frenzy sale on now.
So when we had Georgia, we got the car seat and pram with the best safety reviews. But mate, it didn't end there. Next thing you know, you're up late at night comparing the braking mechanisms on the tricycles. So that's why we've got the Spring Free. It's got great reviews, 10-year warranty on the whole thing. It's the safest trampoline in Oz because the kids can't hit the frame or fall through the springs because there aren't any. How good is that?
Derek, get off.
Yeah.
Shane's enjoying great prices on Christmas shopping at Amazon. So come the holidays, he can get his Christmas Shane on, aka Cool Uncle Shane, and his nan. Get your Christmas on with Amazon.
Introducing Cuke's Baby Cucumbers. Cukes are perfect for school, perfect for work. There's no cutting, no fussing, no need for a fork. Nothing's quite as incredible, nothing's quite as cute, nothing's quite as cool as Cukes.
Good evening. I hope you've had a great weekend. It's been pretty nice weather-wise, so let's see what's going on tomorrow. And here's a hint, there's quite a bit of sunshine. There's not too much cloud showing up on the satellite. We can see some, though, approaching the bottom of WA. That's a front and a deepening low, and it's going to bring some pretty severe rain to the southwest tomorrow. And then it's really going to start barrelling east from Tuesday. That likely means some severe thunderstorms and some pretty decent falls. We'll also see some gusty winds ahead of it and some heat, meaning elevated fire danger in New South Wales, Victoria and in Tassie. But let's get back to tomorrow. Like today, the southeast will be kept dry by this big high extending all the way up the coast to Queensland. And let's take a closer look at the Sunshine State now. A strong wind warning is in place tomorrow for the Peninsula, Cooktown and Townsville coast tomorrow. We'll also see some showers about coastal areas. They'll be most likely in the north of the state. Places like Cairns could be in line for a shower, 31 degrees the top. There's also a slight chance of showers again and thunderstorms through the interior, but otherwise a pretty fine day. 28 degrees the top in Rockhampton, 24 the top on the Sunshine Coast, 24 as well on the Gold Coast. As for Brisbane, a partly cloudy day on the way, a top temperature of 25 degrees. It could get a little windy around midday, but that will ease into the evening. Let's check out what's going on in New South Wales now, and a lot of sunshine across the state tomorrow. The north does have a slight chance of a shower, a little cooler than average along the coast as well. Newcastle will get to 22 degrees and quite cloudy. Also a little overcast in Nowra, a top of 23. It will, however, be warm in the west, 32 degrees the top in Bourke and in Broken Hill. Canberra will reach 23 degrees and will be a little overcast, quite a cool overnight temperature too. A little cloudy in Sydney as well tomorrow, 21 degrees and some light winds about for the harbour city, about 4 degrees warmer in the west. Penrith will get to 25, Richmond will reach 24. Another warm and sunny day across Victoria tomorrow. Some high fire danger forecast though in the northwest of the state. Mildura, for example, will get to 35 degrees. It's also going to be pretty hot in Horsham, 32 degrees. Ballarat will reach 25, 29 the top in Bendigo. Geelong will also be nice and warm, 26 and sunshine. And what a beauty Monday will be in Melbourne, 27 the top, blue skies, a little windy around noon, however. Sunshine too across Tasmania tomorrow, some cool mornings. There will be some patchy fog. Hobart's looking at blue skies and 22 degrees. And South Australia, a really hot day on the cards tomorrow. Really warm in the west, could be pretty gusty. Ceduna reaching 40 degrees. Adelaide, not much cooler. It's going to get to 34 in the city. And that is all for now. Perth will reach 21. They'll be getting those showers tomorrow. Also some thunderstorms in Darwin, 34 degrees.
Tonight's top stories. The 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, delivers a message of hope and unity as he and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris make history. The party's continuing in America, millions on the streets celebrating the Biden-Harris win and the end of the Trump presidency. And Donald Trump, after being told of his loss on the golf course, is still refusing to concede. So what comes next for America? Joe Biden has offered a message of hope, unity and healing as he was finally declared the next president of the United States. After days of counting, Pennsylvania handed Mr. Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris the Electoral College votes needed to steal victory. There are still celebrations underway across the United States after the long-awaited result. It's just on 2 a.m. in Washington, D.C. This is the White House, where Donald Trump is right now, still refusing to concede defeat. Here's National Affairs Editor Hugh Riminton.
A day in America without strangers. Social distancing abandoned as millions danced and hugged and sang. Oh, say does that star-spangled... A contest that both sides declared was for the soul of America went to those who wanted Biden and Harris, or at least wanted an end to Trump.
But we've taken that first step, and the future, for the first time in 4 freaking years, actually looks bright.
Kamala Harris stopped her morning run to make a call.
You're going to be the next president of the United States.
After 4 years and 4 days of the Trump era,
Joe Biden has been elected the 46th
President of the United States.
And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will receive the most votes of any presidential ticket ever.
Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters.
The key was always Pennsylvania. As Joe Biden took a slight but unbreakable lead there, the prize was his.
I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States.
The president-elect has pledged to marshal the forces of justice and decency.
This is the time to heal in America.
And set his priority as the pandemic that has now killed 237,000 Americans.
That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion.
And Kamala Harris made history, addressing the nation as the first woman and the first person of colour to become vice president.
And you delivered a clear message. You chose hope and unity, decency, science, and yes, truth.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, was out on the golf course, indulging photo requests from fans when the networks called the win for Biden. Far from conceding, he was immediately tweeting again about electoral fraud. In a statement saying, "We all know why Joe Biden is rushing to falsely pose as the winner and why his media allies are trying so hard to help him. I will not rest until the American people have the honest vote count they deserve." A flurry of lawsuits has already been filed, but still without evidence of real substance.
From the very beginning, the mail-in ballots were a source of some degree of skepticism, if not a lot of skepticism, as being innately prone to fraud.
Never before in modern presidential history has a claim of victory come before a concession of defeat, but this is the age of Trump. Tonight, some 70 million Americans are mourning the loss of their dream, a second Trump term. But significantly more are celebrating what they have craved and which now has come.
Let's go back to Hugh now live in Washington, D.C. Hugh, how long can Donald Trump deny the inevitable?
Well, he's got a little bit of time up his sleeve, but he is a bit of a tragic figure right now. The number of people who believe Donald Trump's contention right now that it was he who won the election is rapidly dwindling down to just him alone. In fact, CNN is reporting that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has approached him and told him that the time has come to concede the election. The new president, Joe Biden, doesn't take office until January the 20th next year, so Donald Trump has until then. But of course, reality must inevitably come to bear upon him, and he will vacate it before then, vacate the house that he has inhabited so colourfully for the last 4 years.
Thanks, Hugh. Victorians will continue to wear masks for the foreseeable future, despite the state again recording no new coronavirus cases or deaths. Some restrictions will ease further from midnight, including the Ring of Steel.
9 straight days of no new cases or deaths, but the Premier is still cautious.
9 days of zero is not the same as a vaccine.
From 11:59 p.m, the Ring of Steel dividing Melbourne and regional Victoria will cease to exist. So will the 25-kilometre travel ban.
It is of international significance to have gone from more than 700 cases a day to now 9 days of zero cases in a row. Is a particularly impressive thing.
Melbourne's gyms will reopen and hospitality businesses will be allowed to have slightly more customers, but many restrictions will remain.
They're not rules that are against you, they are rules for you. Your safety, your job, your community, your family, your state.
Among them, limits on how many people can visit your home, while weddings will be capped at 10 guests, and if you can work from home, you must.
Didn't we deserve a bit more than what we got today?
But there are no changes to Victoria's most controversial rule, and that's the mandatory wearing of masks, unless you're running, eating, drinking at home or talking to a camera like I am. They must be worn at all times, right across the state.
They serve a purpose, they play a part. in keeping these numbers low.
Restrictions will ease further from midnight on November 22, but at this stage, the mask rule is not one of them. Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
A new alert has been issued for residents in Sydney's northwest with traces of COVID-19 detected in wastewater. Residents in Rouse Hill and surrounding suburbs have been told to be alert and get tested if they develop any symptoms. But authorities say the traces may be from someone who had the virus up to 6 to 8 weeks ago. New South Wales and Australia recorded no community cases today. The front seat passenger of a car involved in a fatal crash on the New South Wales south coast has been charged, accused of pulling the handbrake moments before the crash. 19-year-old Libby Rouge was killed and 2 of her friends injured when the car mounted a footpath and ploughed into the group last night.
Her vibe was infectious and, everyone around her loved her and, still will. And it's going to be a massive hole for everyone. Someone taken way too soon from something, that shouldn't have happened.
The 21-year-old passenger remains behind bars and will face court tomorrow. Beloved Australian entertainer Jeannie Little has died after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. The larger-than-life performer won hearts all over the country when she burst onto television screens in 1974. Her grand costumes, hilarious wit and wicked sense of humour earned her a gold Logie in 1976. She was perhaps best known for coining her catchphrase, "Darling."
Darling, it has been absolutely excruciatingly fun. Can I just say, darling, I have loved every moment of it.
Nobody said darling like Jeannie. She was 82. Coming up next, we're live to Kangaroo Island for South Australia's big variety bash. Plus, more sport with Emma Lawrence, including injury concerns for the Maroons. And the calls that have the rugby world divided.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020!
Over 2 big nights, tonight and tomorrow on 10.
Sometimes you just have to say no. So when you say yes, it means a lot. Kinder Chocolate comes in little bars with lots of taste, so it's perfect for saying yes to at treat time. Kinder Chocolate, a little means a lot.
Renault Coleos. Make the move.
I love shopping online for my pets at Pet Circle. I can easily find thousands of products, all with the best price guarantee, with contactless, free delivery to my door. There's no reason to shop anywhere else. Shop online at petcircle.com.au.
You never want to take off the perfect shoe. At The Athlete's Foot, we believe in fit. Get fitted your way. Safely install with MyFit 3D or online with MyFit Virtual. We make it easy. The Athlete's Foot. Now that's fit.
One little thing. What's one little thing going to do? What if that one little thing wasn't a lonely little thing? Instead, that one little thing was just one of lots of one little things that together can make big things happen. Then that one little thing can change the world. IKEA.
Flavor you can touch. Flavor is a must. Flavor just for me. Flavor you can see. Shapes.
New Shapes Chicken Palmy.
We can help you create your own backyard resort.
EcoDeck, only $16.67 per linear metre. Holman deck lights, just $83.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Hi, this is Margaret, your Dell Technologies advisor.
To listen is to hear more than what's being said and offer the answers that make someone feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
Call a Dell Technologies advisor today.
If you're looking to buy a property, stop tapping on walls and get a free ANZ Property Profile Report. so you'll know how much a property could sell for. Get on top of property buying with ANZ Buy Ready.
Fetch ESPN. Fetch BBC First. Fetch Discovery. Fetch Nickelodeon. Fetch over 50 premium channels. All your entertainment. Easy. Fetch.
Let's see what it's got. Comfort, bucket loads.
It's tough, really tough.
But smart.
Brand new Mazda BT50, the complete package.
Still recovering from summer's devastating bushfires, South Australia's Kangaroo Island community has had a welcome visit from a colourful bunch bearing much-needed cash and cheer. Brett Clappis is on the island. Brett, who's ferried into town?
Well, let's see who we've got today, Chris. We've got the Thunderbirds over here, some Cindy Laupers, some middle-aged men in lycra over there working out, even got some surf lifesavers that have ventured over to Kangaroo Island for the South Australian Variety Bash, raising valuable funds and grants for kids in need. Now, it's day one today. They all came over to the island and circled around and got to see some pretty eye-opening things given the fires that had been through here. But that gave them an opportunity to realise how vital these funds are for communities like this.
An elf, a smurf and a chicken walk into a coffee shop. The barista says,
3 cappuccinos for the chicken. Bark, 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 bark.
What's no joke is the value the Variety Bash's arrival has brought to a community that's endured so much. Kangaroo Island's battled drought, bushfires wiped out half the island, COVID decimated tourism, and now concerns hover over seafood and agricultural exports.
We're a really resilient community, but to just have this influx of people, it just lifts the spirit. Like, you can see people walking with smiles.
So we help people throughout the year, and then to be able to enjoy the bash but also give back to communities is fabulous.
And against all odds, organisers managed to get a revised version of the event underway for 2020.
I think psychologically, more than financially, it's been a win for them and a win for us.
This colourful convoy of 300 fundraisers has brought far more than the tens of thousands of dollars it's raised to replace burnt facilities for local children.
These are my favourite things. This one's my favourite because I got a rainbow.
We've been through a lot for the last year and this is just precious.
100 cars circled the island, a private tour with constant reminders of how stunning, bruised, yet resilient this island is.
We just need to put last summer behind us and need to work towards the future.
Brett Clappis for 10 News First, Kangaroo Island.
Time for more sport now with Emma Lawrence, and plenty of drama, but a win for the Wallabies.
Yes, how good, Chris. The Aussies can take at least something from the Bledisloe Cup after they won Game 4 in Brisbane. It was 14-14 for much of the night, thanks to a couple of high shots that resulted in red cards. Taniela Tupou's late try sealed the 24-22 victory, Australia's 7th in a row at Suncorp Stadium.
Well, you don't win the Bledisloe Cup by winning one and drawing one, so... look, what it tells us is that, if we work hard enough for each other and, we can get results against anyone.
The Wallabies will face Argentina in a fortnight in Newcastle. Cameron Munster says it's his fault that Kurt Capewell has a groin injury, but he's confident the makeshift centre can play Game 2 on Wednesday. Munster revealed that a bad pass from him actually made Capewell stretch too far. He predicts both sides will look quite different by the end of the series.
There's no Cam Murray, there's no AJ Brimson, and Boyd Cordner and Christian Welsh with head knocks, so there's obviously going to be some niggles in games, and there's going to be a lot of young debutants probably playing in the next couple of games.
In Blues camp, Nathan Cleary says he's aiming for a much better kicking game and is excited by Cody Walker joining him in the halves. Manchester United has blasted the Premier League scheduling after a badly needed 3-1 win over Everton. It was just their 3rd league victory.
A Showbiz United goal from a Showbiz player, and a horrid week ends happily.
But there was scarcely a smile from the manager, who was furious at the short turnaround from United's disastrous Wednesday night loss in Istanbul, which he believed caused Luke Shaw's hamstring injury.
Authorities set us up to fail, and we've tried. How can they set us up after a Champions League game Wednesday night and in Turkey and set us a Saturday 12:30 kickoff?
Leeds were fuming after a bizarre VAR decision denied them an early equaliser against Crystal Palace.
Wow, I'd like to see that one again. He doesn't look offside to me.
But it mattered little as Palace piled in 3 more in an emphatic 4-1 win. Chelsea were equally impressive against Sheffield United, increasing their unbeaten streak to 6 games.
Chelsea got 4. Rampant again. And so is Timo Werner. He's now scoring 4 games in a row.
While Fulham fumbled a chance to steal a valuable point against West Ham with a last-minute penalty to...
A bit of divine intervention was just what the Perth Scorchers needed to revive their WBBL season, and Sophie Devine delivered, belting 103 runs against the Sydney Sixers, the big-hitting Kiwi bringing up her ton of just 65 balls.
On 94, she might go to 100. She has gone to 100 with a massive blow over mid-off for 6. That is one hell of an innings, Sophie Devine.
Perth won by 36 runs, the Sixers struggling after losing early wickets. Some tremendous displays of athleticism in American college football today. Baylor's RJ Sneed bending over backwards for this catch, while Rutgers had to think outside the box to hit the scoreboard against Ohio State.
And now they're going to throw it across the field again to Melton. We saw that to start the game. And Melton has a lot of speed and he's got a lot of space. Bo Melton, 10-5 touchdown.
Yeah, clever play indeed, but unfortunately Rutgers went on to lose by 22 points. Well, it's not the usual catch you'd make while out on the water in your dinghy, but it's just as good. A decent-looking bomb and a perfectly timed boat run when the driver was able to reel it in one-handed. And for their catch of the day, these boys can earn our play of the day. How good is that, Chris? I'm sure they'll be playing that over and over to all of their friends and family, probably for the rest of the year.
I just wonder how many times they practice before they actually
50 at least, I'd say.
Thanks, Tim. Coming up next, Charlotte Goodlet's back with the weather for your week ahead.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020.
Over 2 big nights, tonight and tomorrow on 10.
The pollen count is high, so get ready, hay fever sufferers.
Sorry, I can't stay on Earth without Nasonex allergy.
Hay fever is no reason to leave the planet. Upgrade from antihistamines with Nasonex allergy and enjoy Earth.
Together we can do anything. Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty. It's just a thing of beauty.
One in 3 Australians are reaping the benefits of cutting out or cutting back on meat. Get your free veg starter kit at vegkit.com.
At Plush Sofas, we're celebrating our 20th birthday with up to 50% off and 48 months interest-free. Shop in showroom or online.
This is not a bank ad. This is a price ad. Because I'm into homely homes, not home loans. I'd rather manage my money how I like, when I like. I'm Bryce, and I like to bank less.
You're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type. I'm the bad guy.
Seltos.
Duh.
The year was weird, that much is true. Fires, floods, and lockdowns too, and we all missed so much along the way. So let's pack it all into one day and make it bigger than Christmas. The Easter Bunny rides a sleigh. We'll raise a cracker for Father's Day. Pin the tail on the tree. Rudolph's at your Bucks party. It's a roast turkey wedding cake. It's a football mayor pudding. We missed a year, but now we're here. It's bigger than Christmas. Happy ho ho Merry Mother's Day. Congratulations, hope you get well soon. Hip hip hooray, I do. Salutations, mazel tov. Inshallah, Shinyan Hao to you. 'Cause now we made it through. Make it bigger than Christmas.
Hi, this is Margaret, your Dell Technologies advisor.
To listen is to hear more than what's being said and offer the answers that make someone feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
Call a Dell Technologies advisor today.
There is still magic wherever you are. Yes, there is magic. Stay young in your heart. It's still around us. It never was lost.
Cherish those golden to us with Ferrero Rocher. Fragrant hazelnuts, smooth velvety chocolate, wrapped in precious gold. Ferrero Rocher, say it with gold.
Welcome to the grand finale of Junior MasterChef 2020.
Who will be crowned this year's champion?
It all comes down to this dish.
Oh my God.
The grand finale. Wow! Over 2 big nights on 10.
7:30 tonight and tomorrow.
America has decided a new president.
They've delivered us a clear victory.
The results,
An outpouring of joy, of hope. It's the honor of my lifetime.
the reaction,
We must restore the soul of America.
live from the US. 10 News First.
Tonight's top stories: America has a new leader. Joe Biden claims victory to become the 46th President of the United States, vowing to unify the country rather than divide it. Kamala Harris also makes history as the first woman to become Vice President. The news has been met with jubilation, wild parties and dancing in the streets, along with tears as Democrat supporters welcome the win. Donald Trump is yet to concede defeat. He remains in the White House after a day on the golf course, earlier tweeting that he'd won the election.
Hello again. This weekend was pretty dry, but there is some wet weather coming. Most of it coming from this cold front and deepening low approaching Western Australia. It's going to cause some big falls and potential thunderstorms in the southwest tomorrow. And then it's going to head east, that same sort of wild weather hitting South Australia on Tuesday and then Victoria on Wednesday. Meanwhile, tomorrow, like today, the southeast will be kept dry by this big high pressure system extending right up to Queensland. And staying in Queensland, let's see how Brizzy's looking this week. Tomorrow, 25 degrees, and then look at that, pretty much increases by 1 degree every day, staying a little overcast. There is a slight chance of showers throughout the week, but it's not looking overly likely. And then the weekend is looking pretty hot, 32 on Saturday, 34 on Sunday. Partly cloudy and light winds on the cards in Sydney tomorrow, top of 21, mostly sunny on Tuesday, 22. The sun looks like it will come out midweek, 24 on Wednesday. And while the end of the week will be warmer, there's some showers on the way for Thursday and for Friday, while the weekend is looking a little bit finer. A beautiful day on the way for Melbourne, 27 degrees and sunshine, a little windy around midday. It'll be even hotter on Tuesday, but the cloud does come out a little bit, 30 degrees. And then Wednesday, here comes the wild weather, a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening, and there could be some really heavy falls and some strong winds. A little bit of that wet weather hangs around Thursday and Friday, but nothing like we saw midweek. As for Hobart, sunshine on the way tomorrow, 22, and then some really hot days on the way, 27 on Tuesday, 30 on Wednesday, and some likely showers in the evening. Tomorrow in Adelaide is looking warm, 34 degrees, but then check out Tuesday, 36 degrees and thunderstorms. Wednesday, back to mostly sunny and much cooler, and then a milder again to end the week with some showers. Back to you, Chris. There's a lot going on.
Thanks, Charlotte. And that is 10 News First for tonight. I'm Chris Barr. Thanks for your company. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Tonight, Joe Biden to become US president. The celebrations going long into the night.
Across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith in tomorrow.
Donald Trump refuses to concede defeat. Could he cause more chaos in his final